episode is brought to you by Nigerian Student Podcast. Ever wondered what if? What if you could achieve more than you ever thought possible? What if your potential could take you beyond Nigerian borders and onto the international stage? Today, we are exploring that very question with Miss Ejiro, a former Nigerian student who defied expectations and became an international lecturer. So grab your headphones, get ready to be challenged, and discover how you can turn your what ifs into a resounding I did.
Now, please, can you share the story of how your academic journey began, leading to becoming the best graduating student in the French education unit?
My journey to academic excellence was not a smooth one. Yes, it was filled with many trials and errors and trials and errors. But the height or the peak of it for me was when I actually got into university and I knew that I was tired of the normal. There's this general level of excellence somebody will achieve. Like, imagine, okay, over 10, you write a test and you're like, you score 6 over 10. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it can be better. It can be better, yes. But for me, I was actually tired of the norm, like this general norm of everybody who's comfortable with the kind of grade. I know I wanted something more and I had to discipline myself to get it. And like I was saying before the network interrupted, my journey to academic excellence it started really, really good. I was very, very sound. But I'd say in one way or the other, my double promotion kind of shot me in the leg a little. I began to struggle in mathematics, which followed me all the way up until I got to junior secondary school and senior secondary school. It didn't mean that I totally went low, but I just I was struggling. I'm going up and down, up and down, up and down. And up until when I got into college of education too, I just had a very general and very basic kind of excellence. But the height came when I actually got into university, and I knew that I needed to make a name for myself and break the norm, because I come from a family where nobody really pays much attention to these things, and I knew that this is practically a gold mine that would actually bring me into another level of influence, and that was why I had to work on it, and I actually got it.
Wow. But out of curiosity, when I was following your story, I have a question. What even ignited the fire to learn a foreign language, especially French? Was there a moment or an experience that sparked this passion?
Well, there was no particular experience. One thing I actually realized was learning a foreign language just gives you an edge. Whether you want to use it to work, whether you want to school with it or anything, it just gives you an edge. Imagine going to a country where they're speaking a language you don't understand. You would be lost. And we cannot underestimate.
I'm telling you.
You cannot underestimate the power of communication. Communication is really, really important. Yes. And learning a foreign language, I remember I told you that I wanted something that would give me an edge. And learning foreign language was that particular access. It doesn't mean that every other thing counts, but foreign language stays with me. And one thing about learning French language is if you are able to effectively learn French language, you can also learn Portuguese, you can learn Spanish, because some of the words, some of their rules are kind of interrelated. So for me, learning a foreign language, I just wanted something that would give me an edge in the community, because as time goes on, technology and so many things is taking the place of human jobs. AI and robots are beginning to take our place. But in as much as these things are good, yes, at the same time, on the flip side, there are some things that AI can't do. And that is why I had to equip myself to know that I have an edge. So my journey to foreign language actually was just to give me an edge, something that I know that if I bring this thing forward, it will cause me to be recognized.
When I entered the university, one course that you must study, which is a general course, is French language. And I could remember my first semester, it was fun. But when we entered the second semester, I hated this language. That was why I asked you what even ignited the fire to, proceed. But I believe that one day you will get far and will, travel to, is it Paris or Paris? Paris. What do you guys call it in French?
It's Paris.
We travel across the globe.
Paris.
Paris. Okay. We will travel across the globe and by God's grace, we will learn the French and also German as well. Okay, but aside from the ups and downs, the seasons of trials that you faced in school, were there serious challenges that you really faced? Can you talk about what challenges during your education and how you navigated through them?
Okay, I actually the issues or the challenges I passed through were different. The challenges I passed through as a foreign language student in a country where the foreign language is not being spoken, that one on its own is an issue, because you're learning at this particular time language, or learning a foreign language in the country where it's not being spoken is a very big disadvantage, because you have to practice. And when you're learning a language, if you fail to practice, you are indirectly just losing it already. So one of the challenges I had was actually getting to access communities where I could actually implement my knowledge of learning French language. Yes. But aside that, on the flip side, on the journey to academic excellence, one of the many challenges I went through was being motivated. Now, it doesn't mean that I was determined, but it doesn't mean that I was determined all through to the end. There were times when I really just wanted to give up. There were times when I really just was tired of the whole cycle of activities, yes. But for me, what actually helped me through those moments was, when the Bible verse says, write his vision and make it plain, that he who runs, read it, he who reads it will run, or something like that, yeah. And I'm one who, exactly, I am one who, I am very accountable to the things I say. That is why I try as much as possible not to promise, because if I do, I am obligated to, for the integrity of my name. And I had already written it down that I wanted to graduate in first class, regardless of what was going to happen. I was obligated to, because I had written it down. Aside from that, everybody's story is different. I didn't come from a family where everything was so rosy. And being the only female with this unsaid expectations, you finish school, you get married, have children, like this normal timetable, I didn't want it for myself. So that was also one of the challenges I faced. The pressure of should I say, relatives having a calendar for me. I wanted to be beyond, I wanted to arise, I wanted to come beyond what everybody feels a woman should be. So on to academic excellence, some persons felt like I was doing it so much, some persons demotivated me, some motivated me. But in everything, what actually made me stay was the fact that I was accountable to my words. I already said I was going to do it, and I had to achieve it. Now, back to the part where we're talking about foreign language. Remember, I said that one of the disadvantages is not having a community, people you can practice with. Another thing is the fact that French language is not necessarily being utilized. It's just like how I will use a very logical example. I give you a phone, you know that it's important, but you're not utilizing it well. People know that French is good, but not everybody was actually tapping into the real usefulness of learning a foreign language, yes. So one of the things is the fact that some persons felt like they undervalued us, like, why are you learning French language? Let's say you always and do. Why some persons, it's the truth, why some persons actually motivated us for, like, okay, you can do this. And another thing is access to opportunities in my home country. Funnily, in as much as we say, okay, if you're learning a foreign language, you can do this, some persons felt like it was just limited to teaching. Yeah, but most times it is foreign countries who get to value people who have a knowledge of foreign language. So these were many of the things that I actually encountered. But one of the ways I scaled through them was broadening my horizon. I really needed to know beyond what everybody said was the norm. I really needed to break free from the idea of, oh, you learned French language, oh yeah, speak it now. I'll begin to scratch my head. Yes. But I needed to really equip myself to the point where I learned it, I can't speak it, and I can utilize it to work.
It seems like after this interview, I'll just go and pick up my French textbook and start learning. Okay, but what is one thing that always kept you motivated? Sometimes studying might feel so tough and with challenges that we face as students, but pursuing a course in French in an environment that doesn't even recognize it, what is one thing that always kept you motivated to keep on pushing and keep on studying? Just one thing.
For me, it was a global perspective. I wasn't learning French just to remain in Nigeria. So one of the things that actually motivated me, what I actually plan to achieve outside Nigeria. When you're actually buying, you've not gotten a job, but you're going to the market to buy new wares, new office wares, and you're like, why are you buying a shirt? Why are you buying office wear? You're like, I'm buying it because I know one day I'll use it to work. Yes. So for me, what actually kept me going in a world where this language is not valued, or it's not valued to some extent, is the fact that I wasn't learning it to stay in Nigeria. I wasn't learning it for Nigerian environment.
Wow. But since after your graduation, have you seen a green light to that effect?
Yes, I have. Learning the French language has opened me up to many doors of opportunities. I've been able to work with international clients that I wouldn't have been able to see. Imagine I studied social studies. So one of the advantages of learning a foreign language is the fact that it positions you for global impact. I've been able to work with people from Vietnam, all because I actually know French. I've been able to work with people from China, from Pakistan, from the UK, all because I know French. So yes, and there might be so many people learning it. There might be so many people learning French language, but not everybody can actually really, really, really speak it. And there might be some persons who can speak it, but not many people know the business side of French language.
We hope you are blessed by this podcast. Make sure you subscribe for more educational and inspirational interviews every week on YouTube and Spotify. You can also send us your questions and suggestions at the Nigerian Student Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today, and always remember to motivate yourself. God bless you.